You're listening to The Practical Wealth Show with Curtis May.
All right, welcome to another episode of The Practical Wealth Show. So I have a real treat coming all the way from London. I have Gull Khan, and let me tell you about her because she's brilliant. She is an author, international speaker, podcaster, a barrister, an attorney, a solicitor, an intuitive life coach, an EFT expert, an energy healer, and a money mindset expert, and most importantly, a mother, right? And Gull's a former banker and finance lawyer who left her corporate job to pursue her passion and become a money mindset expert and healer. She helps entrepreneurs break free from their limiting beliefs about money so that they can live a life of unlimited abundance. Gull successfully overcame her battle with dyslexia and then completed her law degree at Queen Mary University of London. She then went on to become a barrister with Middle Temple, UK, an attorney with the New York Bar, and a fully qualified solicitor with the Law Society of England and Wales in the UK. As a lawyer, she worked for some of the top international law firms, and Gull is and she's trained as an intuitive life coach and a certified emotional freedom technique, EFT expert, and with a special focus on money in each discipline. Gull has helped hundreds of men and women to heal their money stories and manifest between $2,000 and $830,000 within 8 weeks. She lives with her 2 children, 2 cats, 2 passions, money and Bollywood. So welcome to the Practical Wealth Show.
Thank you so much for having me. I'm super excited to be here.
Yes, me too. And let me start out with, tell them, so what did I miss? Anything I didn't tell them? I know it was kind of a long intro.
No, I think that's pretty much everything. Yeah.
Okay, so that's an interesting transition. So how did you go from being a banking and finance lawyer to a money mindset expert? Tell our listeners about your journey there and what prompted that.
And that's a story in itself. So I'll try and keep it as short and succinct as possible. So I was assessed to be dyslexic, not just dyslexic, severely dyslexic at the age of basically in the first year of my law degree. And that is when I went down, and by then already I was always top of my class. I had excelled exceptionally, and it was really intriguing to me that how did I excel when I was supposed to coming from one with severe disability would be regarded that age. It's not a disability in my eyes, but it was a disadvantage and being severely dyslexic, which made sense because I wasn't able to read a full sentence until the age of 11, 12.
Wow.
But that never held me back. I just went ahead and I just believed. My mother told me I was a brilliant student. I believed it, and that belief took over and I excelled.
Right.
But I did start looking into, how does the brain work, neuroscience, and, and that's where I came across. I was actually, funny I had the story that I actually came across, I was looking at a book by Tony Buzan on mind maps and speed reading. And I came across a book by Tony Robbins on Unlimited, Awaken the Giant Within. And that put me on the path of personal development. And I pretty much became a personal development junkie, so to speak. I went from Tony Robbins to Jim Rohn, Zig Ziglar, Brian Tracy, Les Brown, you name it, I know it. And obviously in the previous ones as well. So that's where I was. So as I developed my legal career, I developed this thirst for knowledge on psychology of success. And also from then that led on very naturally towards energy medicine, energy healing, intuitive life coaching. It was something that I did on the side all the time. I was interested and I was trained and I kept doing it. The thing is, when I took a career break for when I had my family, my daughter, especially my daughter, and then that's the first time I was able to actually really fully focus on it and just to immerse myself in especially energy medicine and energy healing. So the idea that I would become use as a life coach or use it as part of my modality to do work online was just never something that crossed my mind. It was always something to do on the side, and I was always going to be a lawyer because I'm a lawyer in 3 jurisdictions, not on 1, right? But long story short, if things transpired that when I actually had to go back to work because when I left my partner, he cheated on me basically. So, and then he pulled the financial card and he said, literally he didn't want me to leave. And funny enough, by the way, so I'm Muslim, for those of you who don't know. And in Islam, men can have multiple wives, right? They can have up to 4 wives. So my ex-husband wanted to have me and his girlfriend, which he wanted to marry at the time. I thought, dude, not happening.
We're not. So right.
I said,
we're in London. Yeah. This is not a. We're not. Yeah, we're not home.
People can. I mean, it's still fine. I don't agree with it. It's my choice, but because Islam gives me the choice. Islam gives me man is allowed to marry multiple times, but the wife doesn't have to accept it. She can tell him to sort off, and that's pretty much my language. That's pretty much what I did. I'm like, dude, no. So that's when I came to the crossroads. That's when I had to pick. And the idea of leaving my, that time, 5-year-old and 9-year-old at home alone to the nannies while I went, because I'm banking finance, I know the kind of lifestyle I had, I knew the hours I'd be doing. They'd pretty much be being brought up by nannies, not mum, and they weren't seeing my dad at the time either. Right. So that is when the idea that I can do what I was doing professionally and make money from it actually was born. Before then, I was working as an intuitive coach. It was all pro bono. I was doing it to practice my skill. There was never an idea that I was going to make money from it. And at that time, if you know anything about spiritual healers, the idea that I should charge for my skills, oh, no. It was a very taboo subject. But anyway, that's what happened. And so I took a plunge, went ahead, and as they say, the rest is history. I've come down. My business has been established now for 3 years. I did have my own blocks to work on. I had a lot of things to work through myself. But once I finally broke through those, here I am, and 3 years in, and we're almost hitting 7 figures in my business. So
my goodness,
I've done really, really well.
Yes. Yeah. Yes, I got some people that will want to ask you how to do that, who I know.
That's what I teach. How to do that. Yeah.
So let's talk about how can we change our energy or relationship with money?
Well, that's a great question. And this is exactly what I think everyone should be focusing on. Before you want to actually create or have money, think about what your relationship with money is at the moment. And I know a lot of people read books, and even books like Think and Grow Rich by Napoleon Hill, or even books by Robert Kiyosaki, they talk about money and how to treat it and so forth. And as we were discussing this before on camp, before we started recording, the prerequisite before you can create and make money in large quantities, especially making 6 figures is not neither here nor there nowadays. If you want to be hitting those big figures, and especially if you want to become wealthy is very important, then you have to change the way you think, feel, and see and perceive money. Now, this is not just a conscious idea, it's a subconscious as well. And one of the best ways to first start off is work out where you are with money. And I have a very, very simple strategy to do that. So get a phone, put a timer on it for 5 minutes, get a pen and paper, and just write freehand. Just carry on writing for 5 minutes without thinking. Okay, so what do I think about money? So if you're a conscious, conscious person, that is what most of these listeners probably will be, they probably, think money means freedom, money means this. For the first couple of minutes, they're probably like all this BS that they're fooling themselves and telling themselves.
Right.
And it's only after the 2 minutes, because this is why I keep it for 5 minutes. If you free flow writing, within 2 minutes, your subconscious mind will take over, and you'll start putting on paper the true feelings. Money's great, but I'm worried about the bills. The money's never enough. It always comes late, or the client never pays, or the pays delayed, and my cash flow's struggling. Or if they're in employment, I'm not sure about my job. I think I might lose. But all those issues and concerns they have regarding money come out straight on paper. Now, when you read that, so after 5 minutes, when the timer goes off, go back and read it, and especially towards the latter part. Read what you really truly feel about money, and then think, this is what I feel about money 24/7, apart from maybe for a few minutes here and there when I'm doing those affirmations, if they are doing affirmations at all. This is how I truly feel about money. Then how in the hell am I going to create, make, and have money? It's just not going to happen. And I'll tell you why. If we think I don't know how conscious where your listeners are, I'm assuming they are. If we believe everything is energy, and quantum physics teaches us this, right? We know this. You and I, we're nothing more than just a bunch of energy put together, right?
Okay.
My hair is energy, the sound of my voice is energy, everything is energy, and this includes money, right? That's the first principle, right? Okay. Second one, we know that the second principle is everything has to vibrate. If everything's energy, everything has to vibrate on a particular frequency. That's the second principle. That's physics, not me making things up, right? That's the second principle. The third principle of physics is that everything that's on that particular frequency is in harmony with that particular frequency, and it attracts that. So which means you can get onto the frequency of money and attract it. So that's where behind the idea of law of attraction, pretty much in physical in physics terms, right? So that's using physics laws, not just woo-woo stuff. Okay, we're using science here now. Now think of it this way: if you and I are nothing more than energy, money is nothing more than energy, then imagine this. Let's look at this scenario. Imagine we go into this room, and we're in a party somewhere, and you and I, and maybe your wife too, maybe you, a couple of friends, right? And this really gorgeous girl comes in, really gorgeous girl, right? And your friend turns around and looks at you and goes, "Oh, she's so gorgeous, so she's amazing," right? But it tells you, because she's probably going to be, whatever, she'll be arrogant, she'll know she is, blah blah blah. Says all these horrible things about her, these ideas, right? Now that lady may not look upon you once, right? But because you're sending out subliminal image, not you, your friend, sending out subliminal messages to her, she'll pick it up subconsciously, intuitively, and she will be really uncomfortable with him. She will probably won't even look at him. How likely is it that she'll, if he goes out and approaches her to speak to her, how likely is she to speak to him? Highly unlikely, right? Because she's already picked up those subliminal messages. Now, if she can pick it up, why can't money? And the point is, 23 hours, even if you are spending an hour in the morning doing meditations and affirmations, 23 hours of your life, even when you're sending the message out when you're sleeping, 23 hours, you're sending out these negative, awful thoughts about money. And money gets blamed for everything. I'm stressed because of money. Money is the root of all evil. Because of money, I never have friends. Money ruined my life. Money ruined this. I lost money. Every problem is blamed on money. I was divorced. My divorce happened because of money. Money caused so much problems in my marriage. Money gets blamed for everything. Why? Money is neutral. It has other emotions here and there.
That's right.
It goes where it needs to be called, right?
That's right.
It's completely neutral. Your emotions, depending on how you feel about it, your emotions determine whether it's good and bad for you and how it behaves towards you. On itself is just neutral.
Because people put up barriers. They have barriers to money coming towards them. They don't even realize it because that's how they think. And money goes to where it's associated.
Exactly. This is exactly the point. The barriers come not from what they think, but what they feel. The key point here is feeling. And a lot of people, conscious people especially, consciously think, I think money is great. I think money is wonderful. I think money means freedom. But emotionally, they think money is awful. Money is evil. Money is corrupt. Money's made all these problems in my life. Money never shows up. Can you see? Yeah. If you have such negative feelings towards money, why would they come?
Right.
And
you're not going to get it, or you're going to repel it. No. Right. You're going to repel it because
you repel it. You repel it.
Yeah. That's deep.
And this is the reason why a lot of people, they make money, but it doesn't stay. It goes. Right? So as the income goes up, the expenses go up because they have to get rid of it. It's not a conscious thought. It's a subconscious thought.
Yep. We call it in our practice Parkinson's law, right? From Northcliffe Parkinson, expenses rise to meet income, because nature doesn't like vacuum, and you will figure out how to get rid of it because or when people
if you don't know
get big settlements, and 18 months later, I have two clients I can figure out $18,500,000, and within 18 months you're broke.
It's gone. Yeah, I mean, this is not just a common phenomenon there. If you look at a lottery winners, and this is the example that I normally use, that if you win the lottery, if your mindset isn't there yet, I think the last time I checked, it was 80 to 90% of all lottery winners, regardless of what amount, 400 million or above or whatever, right? Yeah. Regardless of the amount of money they've actually won, within 5 years are either back to where they were or sometimes worse off and bankrupt. Right? Yeah. This is within 5 years. How does someone get rid of 400 million within 5 years? It's unthinkable.
It's incredible.
But they have. The thing is, you find a way to get rid of the money. If you are repelling something, you find a way to get rid of it. And sometimes it's not even, you haven't even made those expenses. Like people say, I'm making 6 figures, I'm 7 figures. I don't know where the money goes. And I remember having this conversation with a doctor at the time, by the way. She was a doctor, and her husband was an IT consultant. So between the two of them, they were making around £170,000, which is approximately about $250K USD, okay? Mm-hmm. And they were struggling financially, and she couldn't work it out. And she was like, I don't know what's going on. We make so much money, but we can't keep it. And their expenses were more than their income. So they were literally going towards the spiraling downwards. And that's why she was talking to me. Yeah. And I could see exactly what was going on. But this is why it's not the amount of money you're making which is important and for you to become wealthy. And I talk about this all the time. It's the amount of money you can keep and invest and start growing for you, which makes you wealthy.
Absolutely.
Right? And that depends on how you feel about money, because if you like money, money will stay.
And I like money. And hopefully the Practical Wealth Nation out there, we like money. So let me ask you, how can we stop those negative thoughts that keep coming up when it comes to money?
So that's a great question. Now I have a brilliant strategy for that. This wasn't what we discussed before we send the mic on the recorder on, but let's go with it because this is my favorite topic, right?
Okay.
So one of my strategies to change people's relationship with money is actually to make it your best friend. Now, let's do this now, okay? So if you close your eyes for a second, and I want you to imagine not somebody you've seen on TV, not somebody that you know personally, not a family member, someone completely unknown to you, but I want you to imagine, what will your best friend look like? So how old will he be, or would they be he or she? What kind of hair would they have? What kind of skin would they have? What kind of educational background would they have? What kind of personality would they have? How would they speak? How would they sound? Tall, short, age, everything. Get as clear a picture of this best friend as possible. Give them a name, and now that is your money avatar. Okay, we're going to personify money and make money like a human. So we're going to make you humanoid. Okay, that's your money avatar. Now that is your best friend. So what you're going to do is, over time, build a relationship with that individual. Now, the reason why we make sure there's no one no one on TV, because anytime you're feeling towards somebody on TV or whatever can go down, because obviously people make mistakes. People are humans, right? Doesn't matter where they are.
Right.
So I don't want you to have a negative impact on your money avatar based on someone you know, or someone you've seen on TV, or someone you physically can meet. This is why we do this completely unknown, and it's your best friend. Your best friend, right? That's why we don't pick up people from history. I don't want any past person's experience to taint your money avatar. This is your best friend. You build this relationship with this individual. Now, guess what? Look how beautiful this is. A lot of people, when they are in lack or limitation mindset, they're always struggling for money. They're always like, oh, how can I get more of money? How can I keep money? And they're always afraid to let the money go. On the other hand, if you have a best friend, you know that best friend loves you and has got your back, will always be there when, or even sometimes before you need them, right? But they have to go. It's the ebb and flow of money, right? They have to come and go. They can't come and stay in your lap. Even your kids can't stay with you all day long. They have to go to school and in colleges, whatever.
Right.
So when you get that mindset sorted out, but money has to come and go. It's the ebb and flow of money. Money will come, money will go. But it's always got your back. It's your best friend. Will always show up before you know you need it, before you even think you know you need it, because it's your best friend. And at the same time, it will give you the respect and you will give it respect. Do you see what I mean? It's instead of having the need and greed, oh, please, please, please stay. I mean, if you have a best friend and you're begging them, please, please, please stay, how likely are they to remain your best friend? They'd be like freaked out, the dude, give me some breathing space, right?
Right.
On the other hand, if you have a mate, you're like, oh, dude, I've got to go meet my girlfriend, whatever. You say, oh, yeah, sure, we'll see you next week, right? And you hang out, have some beers and chill out and do whatever you want to do. Can you see the difference? You know he's going to be there next week. You're going to have beers together. You're going to have fun together. That is a best friend. That's where that kind of relation you need to have with money, because money comes and goes. And the better relationship you have with your best friend, the more you see them, the more often you see them, the more they support you. They can bring opportunities to you. They can be there. And that's where money starts growing. So in order for you to become wealthy, you need to have that mindset. The money is your best friend. It's going to come and it's going to do work on your behalf without you asking. Right? It's not a slave. It's not your servant. It's not your God, and you're not its God. You have to. I'm very spiritual, so I'm a big Muslim. So divine sovereignty is just my God. Money is my friend. It's a friend who I respect, who I don't belittle, who I don't say derogatory comments about, and I treat it with respect, and it treats me with respect by showing up before I know I need it. Makes sense?
Right. That makes a lot of sense. And so and I'm gonna lead into what we talked about. So with the majority of the time, give us your 3 steps to cash flow mastery. Because one of the things that we teach our clients is that most wealth is lost by how people manage cash flow, because it's not what you earn, it's what you keep. But when it hits we call your personal economy, you have to direct it to where wanted to do. You just can't let it come in and just go all over the place without any control. So talk to me your philosophy about that.
There's a quote that comes to mind by Robert Babson, and he says, more people should tell their dollars where to go than asking where it went. And
Yes.
I really believe that. I think that's a really great quote, and I think most people should adopt that as well. So 3 steps to Cashflow Mastery. So it's a long process, but I quite try and say as quick as possible. So the 3 steps, the reason why this method and strategy works so well is because it helps you to start taking practical steps to changing how you feel and perceive about money. So let's start with this. The very first step is you actually open additional 5 bank accounts, or these 5 bank accounts could be just simple, additional saver accounts. In the UK, we can just open an additional saver accounts. However, if there is difficulty depending on the location of different countries, then you can start with 5 jars, 5 boxes, 5 envelopes even. It doesn't really matter. Just implement the strategy first. So the first step is to get these 5 different accounts or envelopes or jars. Step number 2 is label them accordingly. The labels should be as follows. The very first one is labeled as me, okay? My money. So it's under your name. So my envelope is called Gull Khan, okay? Sandra's is called Sandra's. Yours would be called Curtis. And somebody else's it could be Kim, whatever, okay? It depends on their name specifically. And this is the order, and the names are very, very important, okay? The very first one is me account. The second one is fun. The third one is large purchase. The fourth one is charity. And the last one is debt/investments. And I'm going to come back and explain all of these now, okay? Why do we have me account? Now, this is one of the principles I learned quite early on from Robert Kiyosaki was, pay yourself first.
Yes.
Okay? But that's the strategy on the physical plane and, the practicality way. Spiritually and energetically, what you're doing is when you pay yourself first a certain amount, I'll tell about the percentages in a bit, and depending on your income level, because I have different tiers. But if you pay yourself first, doesn't matter how much or what percentage, what you're telling yourself psychologically is, I matter and money belongs to me. And spiritually to the universe, I'm worth it. This is mine, and I have money, and I'm the most important person when it comes to money. Does it make sense?
Oh, so that is awesome. That is complete sense. Yes.
So the second one is fun account. Now, when most people think about money, what do they think about? Bills, credit cards, student loans, car loans, whatever, food bills, utility bills, water bills, etc., etc., etc. It's 24/7. All they're thinking about is the negative aspects of money going out and stressing about it. We have to slowly reel them in and start changing the focus from bills going out. And even though there's another thing as well, how blessing your bills, etc. But apart from that, there's another brilliant way is the fun. Now, the reason is practically thinking. When all these big corporations, because I come from the corporate world, when you start with the new corporations, most of the time they have these corporate events where they send you off for team building exercises, go and build raft or go camping or do this or do that, right? These all these fun activities, the team building exercise they call it. Why do they do that? Because when you're doing those things, you're having fun, right? You're having fun with your peers. When you're having fun, you're releasing endorphins. So the image of the person you are having fun with and endorphins, you actually pairs it up together, then you have more trust in them. When you trust your peers, you're in company, even if you may become friends with them, when you trust and you become friends with them, you're able to work better in the company. That's why the companies invest in this team building exercise, and it's allowing you to have fun.
Okay.
Now, what we're doing is using the same principles, and this is where this idea was born from. I take the same principle and apply it to money. If we have money and you have this fun account, now most people are spending money on fun anyway. They're spending it on fun. I promise you, be whatever fun means. But they have spent it and then they feel guilty. This way, we're actually allocating an account, which is the very next account, the very next one. Before we do anything else, we're thinking about having fun. So we start putting money into this account, and it's called Fun Account. Now, the only thing you can do in this is have fun. But you personally have to have fun. You can't just give it to your kids so they can have fun, and that's fun. That's not fun. You have to physically participate in that fun activity, which could be as simple, because when I first started out this and I didn't have much money, it was simply going to the cinema. I love cinema. Hollywood, Bollywood, Dollywood, you name it, I just love cinema, right? Okay. So the idea of fun was, for me, was that's what I could afford, right? I couldn't even afford nachos, when I first started. I promise you, it was just horrible, right? But I was happy watching my movie, whatever the movie was, right? Especially Bollywood, I was really, watching whatever. That was fun for me and the kids, and that was fine. But guess what? Not only did we enjoy the money when we went to that fun activity, look at this, the beauty of it. you're anticipating, as you're building this account, you're anticipating, okay, I'm going to go and do X, Y, and Z. So you're already experiencing it, already building that relationship with money because we're going to have fun. And then when you take it, you spend it on that fun activity, you have fun, you build that memory, and that's your solid memory now. And then you're reminiscing about it, like, we did this and we had so much fun and blah, blah, blah. And they're saving for the next one. Can you see how beautiful this is?
Yes.
Taking the focus from the bills onto fun. Yeah. And now, as you're having fun and enjoying money, you're building a better relationship and trust with money. Can you see how beautiful this is?
Yes.
Working so many different levels.
Because now more money equals you pay yourself first and you're having more fun. And
exactly. Before we do anything else.
Yeah, before we do anything else. Yep.
And then the third account is large purchase. Now, this is where we're teaching you to have delayed gratification. We are born in the idea of we want things yesterday, right? Yep. Unfortunately. So this is an idea for you to say, okay, if I want a new iPad, if I want a new phone, I'm going to save up for it. So the thing is, this also works really well, because if you're saving up for a new iPhone or iPad or whatever the hell it is, as you're saving in it, you're like, oh, I've got this much money, I've got it, I'm going to get it. So you're living it, enjoying the thing you're going to get in anticipation. Secondly, when you get it, you're happy and you're actually you're thrilled. Oh, I have this, I bought this, with money that's saved. You don't have to stress about paying the credit card.
Right.
Unfortunately, when people pay on things on credit card, they don't pay once, they pay multiple times.
Yep.
Because every time they get the flipping credit card statement, they're like, oh, bloody hell, well, gosh, I've got to do this, and the interest rate's gone up, and da-da-da-da. Right. They're paying multiple times. They keep paying again and again and again. And then the energy drops, and they go into stress. And of course, we know the law of attraction, the more stressed you are, the more annoyed you are. Of course, you're annoyed at money, but you're also attracting more or similar circumstances, which causes you to be stressed and annoyed about money. Make sense?
Yes.
Right?
Yes.
So this is why number 3 is super important. Okay, you start learning how to have delayed gratification. Enjoy while you're saving up for that particular thing, or when you actually buy it, you're happy because you've saved up. You're not only using the credit card.
Right.
The fourth one is self-explanatory. It's about giving back, and for me, a charity could be anything. It could literally, charity begins at home for me. Okay, so you can do a neighbor, a sibling, a family member, or something else. Doesn't matter who it is. It doesn't matter who it is. But the only condition I laid is it has to be unconditional. Now, I know lots of religions, like my religion, where they talk about giving and whatever else. You can tithe to your church if you want to. But I don't think that's necessary. I think if you want to give, you can give to cats charity or dogs charity or dolphins charity, whatever resonates with your energy, whatever calls out to you, send it. Just make sure it's unconditional. There's no bargaining. And this idea that most religions have, mine as well, by the way, give £1 to God and we give you £10. What's that? Why is that? Why do I want 10 back, right? Why do I want to negotiate with God? I'm giving because I have. Let him give me 100, 10, a million times over. Why does my limited thinking have to bargain him? Why am I coming to him with the bargaining chip? Like, let's barter this, bargain with him. I'll give you this and you give me back. No, I don't want that. I want to give freely. So when you give unconditionally without thinking, God's going to give me 10 back, you don't do that. Right. Just give because you have. Because you can only give if you have it. Right. So this also teaches you subconsciously, I have this because I can give it. I can't give it if I don't have it.
Right. And if you give it, it will come back to you. So you don't.
Yeah, it will. But allow devices energy to decide how and how much. Right. Don't put limits on, don't bargain with it. And don't even have the expectation that, it's going to come, I'm going to give because it's going to come back. Don't think like that. Okay. Do it openly, unconditionally.
This is what I hear. That's why I brought that up. Yeah, so people think that
unconditionally.
Like okay, I love that.
Yeah. So we don't want any bargaining. No bargaining at all with Divine Energy. Allow Divine Energy to give whatever he or she wants, or whatever your name is for Divine Energy. Let universe give you whatever it thinks is right for you. Be open to receiving it. You don't put limitations on what it should be, how it should be, and how much. That's my idea. Okay? That's number 4, the charity account. The final one is debt/investments. Now, people can either put money into this and pay off their debts quicker, be it the mortgage, be it the credit cards, be it the car payments, or my preferred idea is when they split the payments into 50% into debt, paying off the debts a bit faster, and 50% into investments. Now, I'm going to come back and explain the difference between the me account, number one, and the 5 account now, okay? So the me account, you never, ever spend. Like you never spend. You can put it into a small ISA, or like we have in the UK, ISAs or something, like maybe bonds or something, but very low risk. So you're never risking the capital when it comes to your me account, because we're not doing it for ROI, we're doing it for energetic purposes. We're just having that money that's always there, and we just have that energy that we got money, I have money, case for that. The 5th account, now this is where you can do something exciting. You can go into Forex, you can go to share market, you can go whatever. Now, the beauty of this is once you've paid off the debt, or when you're doing the 50-50 account, what do most people think of? And then think of investors. They think of wealthy people, right? So instantly, we've dropped ourselves in the same category as investors. When you start thinking of yourself as an investor, you start changing your energy and start thinking and feeling wealthy, like a wealthy person. When you start feeling like a wealthy person, remember we always talk about wealthy. You don't have to be physically wealthy yet. Feeling like a wealthy person, you start attracting those opportunities, and guess what? Sooner or later, you become wealthy. And this is the idea behind the 5th account, that you actually go and ideally 50% towards paying off your debt quicker, so you are debt free, and 50% investments. And you can start investment in something of those 50 quid nowadays with cryptocurrency and God knows what else going on around here. There's so many different products out there available, and Forex is one of my favorite ones. Go and do that. Yeah, I'm a Forex trader. That's probably why.
Okay.
But there's so many different venues out there for you to start investing and start growing your portfolio and becoming an investor and becoming wealthy just by the main association. So when you first start, your investment account, and maybe something small with like 50 quid or 250 or something like that, it's still an investment account, which you know is going to grow. And over time, compounding will take over and it will grow into something massive. Instantly, you are now a wealthy person. Does that make sense?
It does, completely.
So that's step number 2. And step number 3 is now the most important question. Well, Gull, that's well and good, but how do I put money into how much into each of the 5 bank accounts? Now I have 3 tier systems for this. So someone who's literally struggling, like they really are they're barely making ends meet. Someone who is really struggling to even pay their rent at times, or mortgage. For those people who are at the struggling stage, I would say start off with 1 or even 0.5%. So, for example, for argument's sake, you make $100 in the week, you would take either the $1, or if you really are struggling, $0.50. Percentage is very important, because if you implement the strategy, your money will increase. And if you stick to the dollar, you'll never increase it. So we're sticking to a percentage. 1%, or if need be 0.5%. So assuming that you're going to put 1%, you put $1 in the me account, $1 in the fund account, 1 in the large purchase, and 1 in the charity, and 1 in the debt / investment account. Now, this may not seem a lot, but I promise you, over time, it will build up. And as you attract more opportunities, more money, as your income starts to increase, as your energy with money changes, the percentage can increase as well. So you'll take it up to maybe 1.5%, 2%, 3%, and that's when the money starts growing. So up to 3% is for those people who are struggling. The second tier is for those who are maintaining. So they're okay, their income out sort of equals the outgoing, but they're just about maintaining their status quo, and they're not too bad in that they're able to have some holidays here and there. They still have credit card debts and whatever. They're not wealthy, but they're maintaining their lifestyle. They're in the maintaining stage. For those people, start off with 3% and 3 to 5%. Start with 3%. So going by the same example, $100, you would put $3 into each of these 5 bank accounts. That means you've spent $15 on the 5 bank accounts. That leaves you $85 to spend on whatever you're going to spend on. And keep in mind, people think, well, how do I do that if I'm maintaining? Well, you're already spending some money on fun. If you're maintaining, you're already spending money on fun. You're already spending money on certain things here anyway. Why not reorganize it? Yes, it will require some adjustment. That's the energy, not you physically and money wise. It's the energy. Yeah, do the work, adjust it, and then put money in. That's the second tier, the maintaining. The third tier is the comfortable tier. This is people who are, they make decent money, they have some savings, they go on holidays 3-4 times a day, but you won't classify them as wealthy. They'll be just comfortable. They're comfortable. Those people need to start putting in 5 and ideally to 10%. Everyone should aim to eventually put 10% into each of these 5 bank accounts. That is when you're able to pay yourself 10%. Right? That's when Robert Kiyosaki wants you to pay 10% to yourself. that's when it will happen. But you need to start off somewhere. Start with five and build up to 10, and you build it up slowly to 5, 5.5, 6, and so forth. Okay, that's why percentage is so important. So start off with, into 5, start doing the $100 again, just as an example, $5 into each of the 5 bank accounts. That means you've spent $25 on the 5 bank accounts. That leaves you $75 for the rest of your expenses. But if you're comfortable, you're able to do that because you already have money. You just have to reorganize and manage your money better. And so to be able to make them a priority. And remember, your account, me account, has to be the most important. Now, the question is, when do we spend this money? The only one that you don't spend is the last one. Is the first one, the me account. All others, you choose when you want to spend it, how you want to spend it. You have a total autonomy over there. The only thing I say don't spend is the me account. Now, as you build your wealth, as you grow your income, what you find is that your income starts increasing at a certain level. And working with hundreds and hundreds of both men and women, I have not found anybody who needs above a certain amount. So there's a point that everyone has between $2,000 and $50,000. 50 has been the absolute up max that I've seen. A penny sort of drops between these two figures when you automatically feel, I have money. I actually have money. You actually sink into the feeling, I have money. But that amount has to be in this me account. There's no risk attached to it. No one's taking it away. It's not invested in anything that can go up and down. It's easily accessible. That's why it has to be in the way that I've told you. Right. And once you've hit that, you just know when you hit that amount. Right. Then you don't have to put money into that again. You can actually divert that to 10% or whatever you put into me account into the last one with investments. So that's my 3 steps to Cashflow Mastery.
I love that. I love that because I think it works on a bunch of different levels. So it's a strategy. It's like specific steps you can do, but it also, if you do it, you're organized, and wealth doesn't come into chaos. Yeah. 2, you feel better. So if you're not, I train like salespeople sometimes, and I say, listen, you can't have commission, bro. So you have to save money so that you can be indifferent whether somebody works with you or not, because you're not broke. Yep. So exactly. You have to do stuff like that, with money. We teach the me account. We call it the private reserve strategy. So put it somewhere where you never go, have somewhere where you can never go backwards. And that's really good. Is that a longer conversation? If not, I might have to get you back on. Is it like how your identity is holding your money hostage? I think we've done that. Yeah, that's long. That ties in very well right there. If we can if I do another one, we can do part 2, and then I can do that with the 4 money mindset. So the 4 money mindset and the identity going really well together. Okay. All right. So we're going to have her back. All right. So we've just set up a second show. What is your philosophy for the 50% to getting out of debt, out of 5? Can we talk about so like that 50% you're using it? Are you like snowballing it? Do you have a specific about that? I do. The strategy I employ is take one credit card and start paying that off. Okay. And then pick a second one and take the smallest amount first. So if you have 3 credit cards and one's for $1,000 and one's for 3 and one's for 5, pick the one with the $1,000 first. Get rid of it. Once you have one clear, it builds up momentum, and then you can use the energy. And also by then, as you're implementing the strategy, more money will come in. I promise you. If people implement this strategy for at least 3 months, they'll start seeing more money come in and more opportunities coming their way. And you can, as more money comes in, you can work on the second credit card, then the third credit card. Now, when it comes to mortgage, I actually do believe, and we had another conversation about this, I do believe in good debt and bad debt, because this coming from Robert Kiyosaki. Yes. I learned it quite early on. So I don't see, I see your home as a liability, of course, but if you can use your investments to pay off your mortgage or something else, then it's not. Or if you, for example, can invest somewhere. So if your currently your mortgage rate is 2.5%, something ridiculous. So I think most mortgage rates are pretty low now. If your annual mortgage rate is 2.5% and you're able to make, say, for example, 5% on a monthly basis on something else,
else, then my recommendation is leave the mortgage where it is.
Yes.
And actually go and invest somewhere else. And by the end of the year, when whatever amount you have, make a lump sum payment towards your mortgage. That is my strategy. Or even maybe using the idea of compounding and allow it to grow when it goes to the same level as your mortgage. Then you pay off.
That's what I like. See, so we teach people, listen, because equity is a balance sheet neutral decision. So where do you want to store the equity? So because in the house, it has no rate of return. We just did a talk last week on asset protection, and so you're leaving yourself liable. Whereas I tell people, look, if you have $100,000 mortgage, you have $100,000 cash or in your me account or variations, you're not in debt. You have debt.
Yeah.
But you're not in debt, meaning that you don't have more liabilities than you do assets. And so I have an hour with somebody on just getting their mind right on that. Like, oh, should I pay off debt? No, you're making, he does a Forex version of, like you do Forex, he uses cryptos like that, but he studies Forex and does.
Yeah, cryptos are great.
He's making money doing that. I said, listen, the Fed is doing a good enough job of destroying the debt for you. You just go ahead and make money. Focus on making money because the debt is here's the defining moment that we teach our clients is that because of inflation, your money will never be worth more than it is today.
Exactly. Absolutely. Money in terms of the value, every single day, if it's in your bank account, it's going to devalue. It's going to get lower and lower. So £2 today, £10 today is worth less, going to be less than a week from now because of inflation. You may not see it on technically because it's 0.1%, but it's still there. It is devalued.
Yes.
So any money that you hold, and even the money in property, because property at the moment is kind of stagnant, it's not moving up or down or anything.
Yeah.
It's not growing in the kind of, this is a mindset thing that people need to understand more. This is where I think we sort of work on the man-made laws of money, because these are just as important. I say about this. Unfortunately, most of the strategists out there, especially the gurus out there who are teaching about mindset and money, they're just fully focused on the spiritual element of do this and do that and let money come to you. And they completely are oblivious to the practicalities and the man-made laws of money, which are so
which is economics, and so like there's basics. And then we teach that there's two sides, right? So there is because if you look at Kiyosaki, on the other side, what I call the financial entertainers, you have the Susies, the Daves, the David Botts, and they're teaching variation, what I call the accumulation theory, buy and hold, dollar cost average, get out of debt, buy term investor difference. But when you study institutions, they don't do that. They literally do a complete opposite. They focus on velocity, cash flow, and leverage. And those strategies work in personal finance. But you have to do the 3-step cash flow mastery so that you have money, and then you've got to study.
Cash flow is king.
Yeah, cash flow is everything. So you got to buy assets. I always we teach our clients you can't eat equity, right? So you have to buy assets. See, the main thing I teach, I feel that my job, when I put my financial advisor hat on, so my real job, right, is practical wealth advisors, but is my job is to help you understand the difference between an asset and a liability, and then make sure that you save money so that when an opportunity presents itself, you have the cash that you've researched, that you understand, that you can participate in, and that's good. But I think that to your point, you really have to get all this crap out of your head about all this money's evil. And, I talked to a client yesterday. She goes, last week, she goes, well, I don't want to be rich. I just want to be comfortable. What does that mean? Okay. To me, you're holding yourself hostage to not grow and get as good as you could be. Money's just green paper you exchange for goods and services. So it's neutral. Gull, this has been fascinating. I could talk to you all day. So we're definitely going to have a part 2, but tell them what is the best way for them to reach out to you or follow what you're going on to get their mind right, as we say here in Philly.
Well, there's two best ways. So there's two ways that I recommend. One is I have my own podcast. I'm a podcaster myself. So I have a podcast called Money Mindset with Gull Khan, and we're available on iTunes, Stitcher, and Spotify, all the normal channels. And the second way is I do run a workshop 3 to 4 times a year. It's called Millionaire Mindset Makeover workshop, and the website is actually the same, which is Millionaire Mindset, www.millionaireMindsetMakeover.com/workshop.
Okay.
And if they come and register for that, there's a small nominal fee for that. It's just a very small fee, but it's a 5-day, 4 jam-packed workshop, and they get lots of bonuses as well. One of my meditations and energy clearings, and we've also given them actually a special bonus, which is 7 laws of money. They get the full program when they join that workshop too. So it's a whole heap of stuff. So the two best things, if they actually want to hear more from me, it's my podcast. But if they actually want to learn some skills and strategies, and especially energy tools, then it's come and register for the workshop.
All right, folks, you heard it. So I want you to act. I want you to reach out to her. And because you've got to have a holistic view about money, right? Yeah. And I think that a lot of times we've got to learn to get out of our own way. And you saw in the call that, a lot of times in your subconscious, there are barriers to that. And I know that just because I work with clients this every day, and I can hear it, that, the kind of stuff you were talking about, I've heard it, where they're shooting themselves in the foot. And it's amazing. Curtis is not the one to help you. I'm going to, not in a nice way anyway, I'm going to beat you upside the head. But so that is good stuff. Well, Gull, I thank you so much. This has been such an interesting call.
Thank you so much for having me, Curtis. I've had a blast. It's been amazing.
Thanks for listening to Practical Wealth. To access the show notes and resources, go to practicalwealthshow.com. To get your questions on the show, go to practicalwealthshow.com. This show is for entertainment purposes only. Before you make any investment decisions, consult a professional. This show is copyrighted by Practical Wealth. Written permission